The Heritage Minute is this. It's simple. It's a bit of Canadian history, a bit of Canadiana. So I want to put you onto some real Canadiana. And what this is right here is this guy you're seeing in the picture. His name is Joe Bowen. And Joe Bowen is and was and forever will be the voice of the Toronto Maple Leafs, the greatest hockey team ever to play the game of hockey. He just called his last Leaf game this year, and the Leafs, like, I'm a basketball guy, but all of us up here, we're hockey guys at heart. Joe Bowen, this is for you, buddy.
LeFave gets an uppercut. Down goes Brown. Now Potvin, Hextall are fighting.
That's legendary right there. Hextall versus Potvin.
Hextall throwing punches at Potvin. Felix throwing an uppercut, lands on Hextall right on the
Man, that's a fight right there. Holy cow.
That's it. Joe Bowen pulled his pants off at this point.
That's a fine. Here's another throwing punch. Hextall with an uppercut. Felix throwing legs and legs.
How are they still standing? I don't know.
The pileup is underneath the main event. Holy mackerel! Back to the blue line. Stop. Bonk can't get a shot. 6 seconds left. McGillney along the boards doesn't get it out. Back to the point. A shot blocked. Another shot red and blocked. Another chance.
He had like 3 strokes.
Game over. Bless you, boys. What a game.
Basically, like every Canadian kid up here, you know, we watch the Leafs every Saturday night, Hockey Night in Canada with our grandparents or whatever, and it was always his voice. So he holds a part of our, heart, like, you know, how music does and how art does. Joe Bowen's voice, man. So I wanted to introduce you to him, Joe Bowen. Welcome to the Ben Stortini Show, where stories drift between worlds and forgotten moments find new life. Let's begin our journey. Let's go. And welcome back, everybody, to the Ben Stortini Show. I'm your host, Mr. Ben Stortini. Of course, that's BENSTORTINI. And we have we had a very, very special guest, and he just disappeared. So I'm going to wait for 2 seconds just to see if he pops back in. And there he is. He's in Nanaimo, BC. He is a musician he's traveling the world. He's a voyager. I'm going to get into it. You're back, Mark. Okay, this is how we're going to do it. Before you say anything, man, I got a real introduction for you. And this is how it goes. Listen up, everybody. As you know, if you've been listening to this show, you know we had a platinum selling artist with Youngbleed on the show. You know we had a movie star with Emmanuel Capango. And now, today, we have a fucking genius. How many people can say they have a fucking genius on their show? I can. And let me tell you who this guy is. He reached out to me, and this is funny. He reached out to me with an email. He said, I was watching your episode, Me Time, where I was explaining how my dad used to get lost in music, playing his guitar back in the day. And he's like, he could relate to that. And I thought, okay, I think this shit is AI. And so I wrote him back. I'm like, are you real? Are you a real human being? He's like, man, yeah, I'm real. I'm like, all right, cool. As I dug deeper into him, listen, I said he's a genius. He's a degreed aerospace engineer. He has an obsession with math. Who said they're obsessed with math? I mean, I was a basketball guy. I went to the back of the book to look for the answers. He's obsessed with math, physics. And everybody, put your blunts down. Computational fluid dynamics. I had to read it 3 times before I could say it, before my brain could process this genius right here. He's into that. He's also a poet, lifelong poet, which I love that he shares with his grandmother, and haikus specifically. He went from rockets to life science entrepreneurship, and now he's making movies, touring the world, touring the States, and now he's in Canada. His name is Mark Winters. Mark, thank you so much for coming on the show. How are you today?
Wow, Ben. Wow, that was quite an introduction. Thank you so much for having me. And thank you so much for having a great podcast. I love your show. And I really can relate to your dad getting lost in the moment of playing your guitar. That happens to me often.
Does it? Yeah, I know. I thought that was super cool. It's funny too, because I don't know if I mentioned this in that episode, but it made me dislike guitars for years to come. Like I didn't even like hearing, because I associated it with dad's not answering me. You know what I mean? It was super weird. Why don't you introduce yourself? I gave a little introduction, but why don't you give a quick little introduction of yourself, just to let them know who you are.
Yeah. I am a lifelong lover of math and science, as you mentioned. I love learning how the world works. And I just happen to have a good aptitude for math and science, so it helps me understand the world a little bit. I love the world that we live in and the people I get a chance to meet. And I guess I have an indomitable view of the world from a positive perspective. So I'm always looking for the good in people and places. And you'll find a little bit of that nerdiness in my music as well as some of that positive energy. I'm out on the Good Vibes Highway Tour right now, and
I love it. Good vibes.
sharing the extra protons with everyone who's coming out to the show. So
70,000, as you said, right?
yeah.
Oh man, I love it. And you know, I'll say it over and over again. I wish you great luck with and success on this tour that you're on right now. It's amazing just to hear anybody that's doing what they love. And speaking of which, that's a perfect transition. So, like I mentioned, I had a movie star on here, right? Emmanuel Capongo. He's back in LA, and I wanted to talk to him about chasing dreams, because he was here in Toronto and he went back to LA because he wanted to continue to chase his dream. And a lot of people, I was saying, you know, that's kind of a loss. That's a dead art. People kind of just they're like, it's a job, and they just kind of stick with it, and they just keep going and going and going and don't chase that part in their heart that's saying, you know, you got to go do this. And with you, it's a little different, I think, which is a very cool thing to have a chat about. Is it's not that you were chasing dreams, you changed your dreams. You went from an aerospace engineer, you know, and a lifelong poet, to now writing and performing music based upon what you were doing before. I just think it's super cool, and I would love to know how you went about that. How did you make that transition? So maybe somebody listening right now is like right on the top of the cliff and is ready to make that leap to make that change in their life. And maybe hearing you tell them how you managed to do it would help them out a little bit. So why don't you jump into that?
Yep, happy to unpack that for you, Ben. And oh, by the way, I love your hat, man. Your hat and your beard. I'm envious of both.
Well, you have the hair, man. I'm envious of the hair. It always goes both ways. There's a reason for the hat.
Yeah,
appreciate it.
You know, I went from something like you said, like I love, you know, just applying math and physics to solve problems in the world. In particular, computational fluid dynamics, which is the study of things that happen inside of our atmosphere, usually like water or air. So helicopters and jets, and just loving life and enjoying my time, you know, doing those things. And then, you know, I did a little bit of life sciences things, which are similar, you know, just applying my math and science. And then I decided to pick up a guitar to sing a song for my wife for our anniversary. I wanted to do something musical. I hadn't done anything ever before, and I wanted to try it out. And I'm a big, I'm big into sort of, if I get a notion to try something like surfing or hiking or rollerblading or, you know, motorcycle racing or whatever, I try to go out and at least try the thing to see if I like it and if it vibes with me. And I found a lot of great hobbies that way, and I met a lot of great people. And so music was just another one of those things I was just going to try out. And when I sang that song to my wife for our anniversary, there was this amazing connection that I got, that I just didn't know where the feeling, this transcendental feeling of connection with another human being came from. Was it my wife that night? Was it the restaurant I sang the song in? Was it playing the guitar? Was it singing? What was it that created that feeling?
That was suave. You did it in a restaurant? This guy. Look at this guy. True gentleman. Continue.
So I roll. So then I start trying to understand. I'm sort of chasing that feeling. So I started playing more guitar. I put a little band together, started performing some songs. What I found in that journey was that I really loved when I was singing the right words to someone. And so it was really hard for me to find other songs that I liked, because they didn't say what I wanted to say. And so that sort of led me to write my own stuff, right? Because I had something to say and I just couldn't find other people's songs that said what I wanted.
Before you continue, you hear that, everybody? That's the beautiful thing about music that I keep saying over and over and over. Music can be a time machine. Music can be a portal to somewhere else in this world, man, that can just pause you for a moment and can just connect you to somebody, something. And it's just one of the most beautiful things. And the way you're explaining that right there, where you said, the reason why you started writing is because you couldn't, always find that song that was saying what you wanted to say. And that's the beautiful thing, because you can feel it. So sorry for cutting you off, but continue. That's beautiful, man.
No, Ben. It's I guess maybe because I was a poet growing up, words matter a lot to me when I pick the words to say something. And so singing it was like, it was like 10 times more powerful for me. I had to pick the right words to sing and say. I think as I'm going through this journey as an adult, you don't have any of the foundation of something that you did as a kid. So one of the first things you realize is, like, if I'm doing a sport, I've done plenty of sports, right? So if I'm playing tennis, and I played racquetball before, there's translatable skills. If I'm snowboarding, I've surfed, I've ridden skateboards. So there's some translatable skills. Yeah. When you're doing music and you've never done it before, you have no frame of reference. And so one of the things you have to be willing to do is to go back to your child brain and, like, okay, I'm doing the new thing. I've never done it before. And so I've got to be bad. I've got to be bad, and I've got to be okay with that. I have to check my ego at the door, right? I have to go through all the things you did when you learned something as a kid. You have to, do the recitals and learn the songs you don't want to learn because they're good for you. And so you go through this journey. And then along the way, as I'm thinking about this, I'm getting, I'm feeling more and more connected with music, and it's fulfilling me more and more. But you don't really know what a sustainable career in music looks like. Yeah. And so I started on this journey of research. My engineering background really helps me. I study, who are other artists who have made a sustainable career with their, not mega stars, right? But people who've made, good, working people.
They can keep going. They can get along, survive. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. How do they do it? And so I start studying what they do. And I learned there's some branches in music. You can write songs for other people. You can write songs for music and film. You can perform live. You can do all these things to earn a living. You can play in other people's bands as a musician. And so I find myself, what I really love is the sense of community and the sense of connection I get when I'm out playing live. That's my thing. I love it. And so I want to do that as my career. And so I have to step down the road. What does that look like? Who's doing that well? What skills do I need to have? And so, if anybody who's thinking about sort of going on a journey and changing careers, I think you have two things to think about. One, if I'm going to do something new, what does a sustainable career in that field look like? And who's doing it well, so I can learn from them? Because, you didn't do it. You've not done it professionally before. And so you need a guide, you need a mentor, or you need to study. Since I didn't have a mentor, I had to do it on my own. I'm just sort of figuring it out.
So you went at the data. You just went and sourced as much data as you could just to be intelligent about it, with the decision to, like, this is how I'm going to do it, because you can do it. Yeah.
That's exactly right. And so I found, one of the things you can do is you can build a sustainable project as a live performer. You can build it around original music. You have to get out and pay your dues, which is what I'm doing. Second year of touring. Love it. Having a great time, doing the thing.
You can tell, man, the vibe is coming off you. You said the tour is called Good Vibes?
Yeah, Good Vibes Highway
It's coming
tour.
Off you, man. I love that.
I'm throwing those protons out there.
Seriously,
sure,
you really are. Well, you heard it, man. That's you said it, and I wrote it down right there. You look at the data. So anybody out there that's going to, like you said, you want to make a change in your life, you're a little bit scared to do it, do your studying. Because, it worked in college. If you had a test the next day, stay up all night, study. But just do this over time. Have that plan ready so that when you pull that trigger, you know what I mean? You've been to the gun range enough to know that you have a shot. So I love that. Let me give you a quick background, and I appreciate you opening up like that. The reason I made this show is simple. I was going through a lot, man. This was about a year ago, I started this show. I was doing a basketball thing before this, and I work in advertising, but there was the stress of having a second kid, and there was a lot going on in my life. And my grandfather died, who was like my dad, and just all of a sudden I was getting these panic attacks, and I'm not one to deal with stuff like that. And I wish I had found a show like this when I was going through that, because I needed to hear somebody who is just a regular dude who is like me, who is going through some stuff, and maybe I could take a tip from them and put that in my toolbox on how I can deal with the stress, how I can deal with this and that. So that's why I made this show. So what I ask every guest that I have on here is simply, is there a moment in your life that, you're willing to share that, something traumatic happened, a stressful moment happened in your life that will never leave you and you'll never forget it, and it really molded you as a man, where that you've took so many lessons from that situation that's happened to you, and it, like I said, it will never leave you. And how did you deal with it, and how do you continue to deal with it to this day, and how does it help shape you, if you're willing to share?
Yeah, a couple of things come to mind. I think probably one of the more defining moments in my life that had lots of positive elements to it, and a few scary elements to it as well. That was super stressful. Was the birth of my daughter. I remember being, in the delivery room with my wife, being there for her, but having those thoughts like, okay, you're about to be a dad, which is kind of a scary thing.
Terrifying.
Yeah, and then I can also remember, I've had this. I had this on again, off again notion of faith in my life. Stronger when I was a kid, and then as an adult, maybe a little less so. And I remember just thinking, my scientific mind sort of cycling through all the things that had to go right for my daughter to be born healthy, right? And I remember just this feeling of faith washing over me in that moment and telling me, okay, look, it's highly improbable that all these things go right and you have a daughter that's beautiful and your wife is amazing on the other side of the delivery. But you know what? It's going to happen. And you just have to have faith in the thing happening. And I think it's, to me, as she was born, I remember seeing her shiny, I guess, little head, and she has this beautiful red hair, and she was bright pink,
Welcome
and she's
to the ginger team. Beautiful.
Exactly.
Right,
but just a phenomenal time for my wife and I to have a new life in the world together. And I remember at that moment, like, this sense of humanity and connection that I got, and it just pulled my wife and I together so tight, and my daughter. There was just a tremendous amount of love and
It's beautiful,
community,
isn't it?
right?
Yeah.
Scary and a life-changing event for everyone. But for me, I've taken that sense of connectivity and that sense of humanity and faith, in my life, and it's really it changed the trajectory of my life. Before that, I really was a lot more, goal-oriented, driven, achievement-oriented, science-minded. Had this trajectory in my life. I was sort of going down, and it was like a shift, like
equilibrium shift. It just goes.
Oh, okay. This is you now, not that.
Yeah.
And I remember, taking that with me, and I think that that was super, in fact, impactful for me. My life has been very different ever since then. I never even thought I would get married and have kids. My parents got divorced, and it was a traumatic childhood for me, and I never thought I would do it. And I'm being grateful in those moments as well as being scared. Like, okay, this person is now depending on me. I better get with it. I better do it right then.
It does push you a little bit, doesn't it? It changes everything. Like you said, it's a shift. And you said something interesting that I've actually been thinking about as I get older. I'm not very religious on my end, but as I get older, I'm starting to look at religion and starting to not to get into it deep, but the balance between what you said right there, between your faith and science, and you being an aerospace engineer, that must have been a battle. Like to be, you know what I mean, on both sides of those coins. That's heads and tails right there. So how did you find the balance? I guess you said when you were a kid, you were more, in the church, or how did that work?
Yeah, I would say, I'm going to use the term faith in a broad sense, right?
Okay, yes.
I think science can prove a thing. You can know a thing, completely, there's a certain definitiveness to science. This is probably one of the things I love about it, because you can really,
Me too.
you can hone in on it. 2 plus 2 is 4. I know the thing, right?
Like that Orwell documentary, 2 plus 2 is 5.
Well, that could happen
that was
too.
good.
So I'm going to say I never would take a situation and just have faith in the people to do the right thing, or to do a thing, or to act in a certain way.
Right.
I would always try to craft the environment and everything else around it so that the only option or the only direction was a certain way, so that I was almost like scientifically proving the direction that someone was supposed to act or proceed. And so, as a kid, I did that far less. I was just fine being me and everybody else being me, and I had a little pack of buddies, and we would run around doing everything together. And so I think as I got older, I tried to become more deterministic in my approach. And so, I did go to church. I'm a Methodist, but it wasn't, I wasn't an altar boy or anything like that. I went, but there was some element of faith in my life there, religious faith. But there was also this faith that my grandparents would be there for me, and that I would have a meal the next day, whatever. You just took it for granted, right? As I moved forward in my life, then I became more and more deterministic. And then as my daughter was born, it's like, okay, well, you just have to have faith that your daughter's going to be born healthy. You've done all the things you could do. Going forward, I start having a little more of those same thoughts between my wife and I. It's like, you know what? She's an amazing person. We're going to grow old together and have lots of great memories together. And I have faith that that's going to occur. And you do the right things along the way, but I have faith that's going to happen. And so I think it opens me up more to this sense of community and connection, like my musical experience, right? That was just a phenomenal experience with her. The fact that, I can go to a new room and have faith in the room. Hey, I'm going to meet everybody where they are. We're going to go on this journey together, for my concert, and I'm going to try and share some stories and some positive energy with everyone. And hopefully we all get together in that room and we're all part of the same community journey, which is one of the amazing things about music. And everyone can leave, me included, with a little extra positive energy to take out in the world and share with people, right? And so, as I think about, those alterations that these events occurred in my life, that's kind of that's my sense of faith, both religious and faith in humanity and people.
Yes. And you know what? I completely get it. And it kind of nudged me in a sort of corner of thought of when you said your daughter was born. I was in the same situation when my daughter was born. To explain the word faith is like, it's hard to explain what something so divine is. When your child is born and you hold her for the first time, tears were coming out of my, it's that stuff that you can't explain, and I think you just put it really beautifully right there. So thank you for that. I have a bit of a surprise for you, Mark Winters. I went and I dug into some of your tunes, and I love this one song, man. So what I did is I had my friend sample it and kind of make a little tune out of it for this halftime. So what I want you to do is give a little shout out, whoever's on your mind, and let them know what you're thinking right now. Okay. Stage is yours.
I want to give a shout out to my mom and my wife. My mom has been, a big supporter of my artistic journey, and I think I really appreciate, her love and support. I guess the person who's always on my mind is my wife. She is the most amazing supporter. I took a right turn at Albuquerque and changed from this engineer and this life sciences person to an artist, and it was such a big shift in my life and my trajectory. And she has been behind me every step of the way. She told me when opportunities were opening in front of me, you got to chase those dreams. I'm right here. We're going to figure us out. Don't worry about us. We're good. You take the steps you need to take and fulfill yourself and chase your dream. And how many people could say that, right? In a relationship, my wife is just phenomenal. Laura Winters, you're amazing. That's my shout out.
And welcome back, everybody. And this is another edition of the Stortini verse. And for you that don't know, and I don't know, Mark, if you know what the Stortini verse is, but it's quite simple. The Stortini verse is this. Weekly, I like to just put on your plate of music a couple of tunes. So maybe you can go into your week and you're like, I like that tune. Oh, my ears like that one. Oh, that one gave me the goosebumps. That one gave me the shivers. I know that one's right. And then I like to introduce you or recommend a documentary that I may have just seen, or I talk about the book that I'm reading. And then lastly, I send you off onto your weekend with a challenge. Now, I'm going to leave the challenge to you, so keep that in the back of your head. So when that time comes up, you're going to open up that door for the listeners. So let's jump into music here. So each week, I like to suggest a little music. Now, because you reached out and it was about, my dad playing music, and it reminded me of the music he used to listen to when we were in that apartment. And this song right here, this is Steely Dan, and this is Do It Again, man. This tune right here, this is legendary. This is my dad's band right here.
I love it.
He used to do this song. Yeah, Steely Dan, man. Here's the hook. We gotta get the hook in before we go. Do it again. Steely Dan, Do It Again. That is a vibe. We got one more here. I want to say rest in peace. I'm a huge fan right here. And for some reason, he passed away this year, and for some reason I haven't popped him up on the show. But Willie Colon, man, Willie. This dude right here, the legend, him and Hector Lavoe, legends of salsa. And this dude right here has some of the biggest salsa tunes ever. And this is one of my favorites. So I just want to say rest in peace, Willie Colon, a legend forever. And this tune right here is called La Murga. Tell me what you think, Mark.
I think I lost you for a second there, Ben.
Oh, I just danced out of my shoes. Can you hear me now?
Coming in there and saying, hey, man.
I was the ghost of Willie Colon.
I want to be on the show. Get rid of that Mark guy.
Hey, Willie, rest in peace. I apologize. Okay, everybody, we had a little technical issue right there. I don't know what happened, but it doesn't matter because the vibe has continued. Willie Colon, that's who that one was, so I'll have to edit that one up. So,
Amazing Groove by Willie Colon, I have to say. I love it.
You liked it? Nice. Yeah. All right, cool. So now we're just going to quickly jump into the documentary here that I'm going to suggest. I am in a book right now. I don't want to talk about it yet because it hasn't hit me yet as they usually do. But I watched this one on Friday. It is the new AI doc. It's called How I Became an Apocalyptimist, which is a great word.
Apocalyptimist. That's awesome, dude. I love it.
I guess there was a movie back in the day on ABC that reached like 100 million people back in the 80s about nuclear war. I think the 70s or 80s. I think it was called The Day After Tomorrow or something like that. This one is like that movie for AI. It's the type of documentary that you got to play for your grandma, pay for your mom, play for your dad, play for people in your life that don't understand AI and maybe they want to, but they're just like, it scares me. This is the movie to play for them because it really nails down the positives and negatives. The guy who hosts the documentary, he's an artist and he just had a baby and he's scared as hell about AI and doesn't know anything about it. So he talks to all the CEOs, Sam Altman, this and that, and he comes out of it. I won't give it away, but it's a fantastic documentary and I really highly suggest it for those listening and you.
Yeah, it's what a time we're all living in right now where AI is emerging. The scientist in me is fascinated and I use AI a ton.
Me too.
And the artist in me is like, hey, if AI is doing all these things for you, then what are you supposed to do as a human? As a matter of fact, I wrote a song about it.
Stay human, that's what you got to do.
I wrote a song about it called What Does It Mean to Be Human? And it's about my feelings around the topic of AI and a little bit of the the fear
Mark,
in there.
we are
Yes.
on the exact same vibe. My tab is ready. I was going to say, end this episode off after all of this with What Does It Mean to Be a Human? That's the song
look at
I was going to
that.
play.
Okay,
That's
hey
crazy.
now.
So that was a great, we're going to play it in a bit, but yeah,
Yeah.
that's amazing. See, AI couldn't do that, Mark. AI
No,
couldn't do
it
that.
can't. It can't. But it's I had a great conversation with my mom actually
Did you?
about AI. Yeah, we were talking about what AI can do now and what we think it's going to be able to do in the next year or two. She's blissfully living in a world ignorant of AI. She's like, wow,
Oh,
it can do
God
all those
bless her.
things. Yeah, yeah. I'm like, okay, here's where it's going, mom. So it was a great conversation. Yeah.
Love it. Okay, so that's Steely Dan, Willie Colon, and the AI doc. So then I ended off with a challenge to go into your weekend with. Why don't you hit them with a challenge, Mark? Do you have a challenge for these listeners?
Yeah, I would say take a moment for the next week, every morning, before the news, before your phone, before you let the world crowd in, and check in with yourself. What are you feeling? And then give yourself a job to do one kind or thoughtful thing for whoever comes to mind that morning.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, I find myself
I like that.
doing that often, and when I start my days off that way, it's like an amazing day. I've got this extra pick me up all day. Hopefully,
Yeah.
everyone who tries that out has the same effect on their life.
That's like faith coffee.
Yeah, yeah,
I like that.
or kindness, right?
Kindness or just kindness.
Yeah.
All right, you heard it first. So do that. And I'm going to do that. I'm actually going to do that tonight when my lady comes home. So before we end this, I like to do, whenever I have a guest on, I like to do this segment called This or That. So I like to pose A against B and you give me C. You tell me what you choose. Very, very simple. But these questions are deep, Mark. These questions are deep.
Lay it on me, Ben.
First one we got right here is if you had to choose. Like I showed you this picture right here of my dad playing that guitar, right? Well, I thought, why don't I ask you, if you had to choose, what do you got? You got the Gibson Les Paul or the Fender Stratocaster? If you had to choose between one of these two classic guitars, which one do you got? Mark, hit me.
Oh, Ben, I'm a Fender Strat guy. That was my
Are
first
you?
electric guitar. I love it's so versatile.
The Jimmy.
Every time I play another guitar, like I have a few other ones that I get for like certain tones when I'm tracking. I always wish that I was playing my Fender. It fits my hand and me, and mine has a humbuckers in the back. I love it, and I play it every chance I get. Yeah.
This was that's a good pick. That's Jimmy's guitar right there. This is a picture I found just for this episode. That was my dad's collection of all his guitars.
Wow.
And that right there, that's that Les Paul in the middle of that beautiful guitar. But they are both. That's hard. Those two are legendary guitars right there. So there's really no right or wrong.
And I was influenced by John Mayer when I was learning. I learned to play guitar by playing John Mayer songs.
Oh, yeah?
And his first electric love was before he moved to PRS. It was the Fender Strat. That was his thing too.
Ah, okay. So basically, you're from Texas. And in Texas, like here, basketball is really huge here now too, but it's hockey's in our blood. In Texas, football and faith, man. Now, what is bigger in Texas? Is church bigger or is football bigger, man? Like, lay it on me. Which one is bigger in Texas?
Ooh, that's a big question, my friend. A very big question because everything's bigger in Texas,
I know.
I think some of the biggest mega churches are in Texas, like Joel Osteen and a bunch of other guys who have these
I've
massive.
seen those. That shit is crazy.
Yeah, they're humongous. And then we have a pro football team in just about every big city. I don't know. Can I vote for a tie, man? Can we have
is it that big?
It's that big. They're both humongous,
Wow.
and they're intertwined. Like in the high school level, football is humongous, and
Yeah, you guys love your
faith
high school football.
is humongous at the same time. So there's such an overlap between faith and football in Texas in general. I would say they're both. It's a tie, man. I can't give you an A or B. That's a tie, man.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. I actually, I thought about it too. I'm like, it might be a tie. Sure enough, it's a tie. All right, since I got you on, man, you're like I said, aerospace engineer. Man, are UFOs real? Or what is your opinion of what's going on outside of our beautiful planet Earth?
What? Okay, so the scientist in me would say that the probability of life outside of the Earth is high, right? So the probability of it is high. What I read, like for pleasure, is always fantasy and science fiction, because I want there to be.
I'm about to read Dark Matter.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I love just imaginative stories and things, and so the poet in me would love for there to be something else out in the universe.
Yes.
But I would say the probability is high, and I think the story value of it as a poet is high.
Is high. Yes. Very, very high.
Yeah. That.
All right, last one. I was gonna do this just for Texas. Like, who's bigger in Texas? Is Elvis Presley or Johnny Cash bigger in Texas? But if you had to speak for your entire country of the United States of America, who is bigger? Like, really, in people's hearts, Johnny Cash or Elvis Presley?
I can't talk for the U.S., but I can talk for Texas on this front.
Okay, speak for Texas. That's where I was going to go with it.
Yeah, Johnny Cash is like more of the epitome of Texas than Elvis. Elvis is, yeah, exactly. Just the attitude, right, of Johnny Cash.
I'm a huge Cash man. Like that, just the start of that song, like that right there. You could do a drive-by to that.
Exactly. I just think his attitude, his like, you know what? I'm just going to have an attitude. Elvis is definitely cool and popular, and I love a lot of his songs that he sang. But Johnny Cash just has attitude, and I think Texas has more of the Johnny Cash attitude than the Elvis attitude.
That's cool. See, that's why I think I dig Texas. All right, that's it for that. So you already nailed it. So what I wanted to do before I send you off back on tour and back spreading those good vibes, I wanted to let the listener feel those good vibes, man. And it's funny, again, that is the exact tune. What does it mean to be human? I wanted to share with everybody here. So if you don't mind, if it's all right, can I play this song for the listeners right now while while I got you on?
Yeah,
I love
please
it.
do, Ben.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
What does it mean to be human anyway?
Sounds Beatles-like right there.
What does it mean to be human anyway? Just make it easy for me.
And the visual is me staring at AI, which is mimicking me.
Yes, okay, it is.
It is. Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
Just tell me how I should
That's the part my friend sampled right there.
How to scroll and make the best link. How to break the ice, 'cause I never learned. Yeah, that would be nice.
And I put this
Take my troubles away. Help me to
rhythmic element that's
tell me what
like
to
very
say.
organic and human behind the tune to give it some of that humanity feel.
Yes. Yeah, it's that balance like we were speaking about with faith and science, and it's music and science right there. You can feel it.
And it's me kind of making fun of myself. Like this shiny scientist in me wants to use AI for everything, right? And the poet in me is like, you know, you maybe not. Maybe the next generation won't even know how to talk to each other because AI will be doing everything, right?
It's terrifying.
Walk away and find some peace. What if I miss the sound?
But if I miss the sound, I'm still addicted to AI right now. There you go.
Yeah, AI music is trash though.
Yeah.
You can feel there's no soul.
Tell me what to say, but let's
I think that's, and I'm in the spot where I still want to learn everything. Because everything's so new to me, and so I'm doing everything myself. And so the only thing I use AI for in the music world is once I've made a song, once I've crafted the melody and the lyric and the musical arrangement, then I'll put it in AI to get some production choices around. So you can put everything in there, and it'll make it a rock song, or it'll make it a country song, or it'll make it
really
more R&B style. And so you can take your song that you've written and get a whole bunch of different production ideas in it.
Interesting.
Super helpful for me, because I'm not Charlie Puth or something. I'm not a producer as well as an artist. I mean, I produce songs, but I'm not that good. So it's something I can learn a lot from.
Didn't know I could do that. See, I used to make music back in the day. I'm not in that game anymore. And we definitely did not have those tools. You had to make what you had to make. You know what I mean?
And that's what I've been doing up until a year ago. It's been sort of make it all, do it all yourself, and then AI is advanced.
I know it's happening so quickly. That's why you got to hold on. So that's why I give you big shout out for on tour. You're writing your own music, you're performing your own music, and you're gonna help keep humans being human, man. So that people need to remember what it feels like to touch some grass or touch a tree and hear a good melody. They can check you out, man. And
hey,
what does it mean to be human? Check this dude.
Yeah. What more human experience is there than sitting around a fire with a guitar singing songs together, right? I mean, that's the epitome of a human connection.
Yeah, you just reminded me. There was this dude before we go. Hey, what was it? I don't know. Actually, I'm not going to call him. I really wasn't friends with him. But I used to work at this TV station called YTV. And this dude, he always used to bring his acoustic guitar to work. And this is how he would get girls. So he'd go down in the lunch area right there, and he would just post up by a table and just start playing some tasty acoustic licks. And there would always be like 2 or 3 girls that would just magnetize towards him.
I got it going on, baby. Come on over here.
Oh, too funny. Well, listen, Mark, thank you so much for jumping on, and I want to give you the stage one more time to please let the listener know where they can find you, where you're at, what's going on. If you're on social media, I'm not on social media, but let them know where they can find you, because you need to be found.
Ben, thank you so much for having me on. Thank you for having an amazing beard and an amazing hat. And
Thanks,
you can find me at markwintersmusic.com. All the links to my music are there. You can join the Positive Vibe Tribe email list there and get some extra protons in your day. Love to have you out. My tour schedule's there as well. And if you're on socials, you can find me at Mark Winters Music on all social platforms.
I mean, do you have merch on your website?
I do. I
need a good vibe shirt if you have one.
You can. There's a Shine With Me shirt there.
Yes.
And there's a Think Like a Proton wristband. So you can find all those things on the website.
Well, you heard it first, everybody. Go and find Mark Winters. Mark, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I send you only good vibes from my end to you. Let's get out of here and let these people enjoy their weekend. All right.
Thank you, Ben. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Thank you for taking the time to jump in the portal with me. Do me one favor, all right? Hit subscribe on Amazon, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube, and leave a 5-star review so the algorithm kisses this pod and sends it out to the streets looking good. Have a great weekend, and please don't ever forget. I love you. Boom, Mark, we're done.
Boom. Thank you so much for having me. I love your energy, and I really appreciate you giving me the opportunity to be a part of your show, man.
Love it, man. All right, cool.